Good day to all you hockey fans out there. It is February 11th, and you are listening to the one, the only Talking Puck podcast. I am Sean Coles, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Lake, and we're going to start off with a quick roundup of the week as it was for the Canadian teams, and it was a pretty slow week, actually. There wasn't, I think most teams were heading into their bye weeks at this point, so there wasn't a lot of games.
Yeah, it was a pretty slow week for hockey.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for us, but I will hopefully be getting back into the swing of things next week. But we're going to start off, as we normally do, with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they were actually one of the ones that had a busier week because they'd already had their bye week.
They had like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. So, not what I would call a stellar start to the week. I think we discussed it on the last show. Just awful game against the Islanders.
Yeah,
and just brutal. I don't know what happened. They just could not play defense for whatever reason. Freddie wasn't getting a save. They were up 4-2, and they somehow lose 6-5.
that's common for them though.
They were up 5-4 with less than 2 minutes left.
And the surprising part for me was John Tavares had 0 points.
Yeah, and you know what? You gotta wonder what's gonna happen with him because his contract is obviously up after next season. But does he want to stay there? Like, really? Does he really want to stay there?
I mean, he stated that he does, but how much of that is just him just being the the poster child for the organization?
Exactly.
It's going to come down to when the option is available for him to sign, where he's going to go. But I have a feeling he's going to pull a Stamkos and he's going to stay.
Probably, and he probably will. It's very, very rare that someone leaves. I think one of the main ones that we've seen recently, just the big one, was probably Ryan Suter and Zach Parise.
Yep.
And that's going back quite a few years.
Yeah, usually the franchise players like that, they usually, they stick it out. They're there for the long haul usually.
Well, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is.
You sometimes got to take a chance, and then you get to do stuff like Wayne Gretzky did, where he hadn't played for St. Louis very long, but he sure as hell played in their alumni game. And you might get yourself a free hot dog in the meantime when you do that. But the rest of the week for the Leafs wasn't actually too bad. They tightened up defensively against the Stars and against the Blues as well. That was a pretty tight game. And you know what always annoys me is that these goalies that they're doing so terribly. They can't stop a puck to save their life. They play the Leafs
and they get their
all
confidence
of a sudden
back.
They are all-star goalies that can stop anything. Like Antti Niemi had a pretty good game for the Stars, and then Jake Allen, who hasn't been able to stop anything all season.
He's been pulled like 7 times.
The 2 games against the Leafs, he somehow manages to pull out good wins.
In the game against the Leafs this week, he had like 37 saves.
Oh my God!
Allowed 1 goal.
I don't know. Like, at least Freddie had a good game as well, and that was unfortunate that Tarasenko beat him 20 seconds into overtime on that one. But I don't know. The Leafs have been on kind of a downward trend the last couple of weeks, and they got to pull themselves out of it. Like, at least they got points this week, which is big, but it's just getting 1 point a game isn't going to be enough. They need to start winning these games.
It seems like it kind of started to happen when Morgan Rielly went down.
Yes, yeah, that was hard for them. Morgan Rielly going down, considering he is their best defenseman.
And then he came back, and now it's like they can't find their defensive stride.
Well, and you know what? I don't know if he was rushed back in or what it is. It might take them a little time to gel a bit, but time is something they just don't have this month.
Not at the end.
They need to figure it out. They need to figure it out.
Although Van Riemsdyk did state yesterday that he does not want to be traded.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll get to in in a little bit, because obviously with trade deadline coming up, lots of rumors flying around and whatnot. But for a team that has also been embroiled in some trade rumors, we've got the Montreal Canadiens, who also had a bit more of a busy week. They, as I know we talked about this on the last show, where they lost to the Oilers, then lost to the Avs, and then had to have overtime to beat the Coyotes. And I'm pretty sure they were losing in that game.
They were winning at first, and I don't know. They're just not really playing the greatest hockey right now.
Oh man, and you gotta wonder what it is with him, right? Because Carey Price obviously has not been his normal Carey Price self. But at the same time, the rest of the team is supposed to be good enough to make up for those deficiencies, right? Like, this is the team that's supposed to be able to reach the conference finals.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know that they could.
Apparently, the rumors are that Bergevin's been crazy on the phone with a bunch of teams trying to pull some trades.
And that's what sucks in the salary cap era, is that it's hard to make trades, you know? And we used to see, like, just some ridiculous ones.
Oh, yeah.
Like when the Leafs were able to bring, it was like they had Owen Nolan, Brian Leach, like they brought in Doug Gilmour, they brought in all these old guys that probably cost significant salary, but they were able to do it.
That was like the year that Colorado had Teemu Selanne, Paul Kariya, Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, Rob Blake, Adam Foote.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore, that's for sure. No,
or the Rangers when they used to just buy teams back in the day.
Well, Yager is definitely an example of that. And, you know, they're on a downward spiral, and I don't know how they would pull out of it. And you got to think that Bergevin's got to be looking at the coaching market now, going, now it might make sense to make a move.
You'd think, but for some reason he's
weirdly loyal.
Yeah, he's weird.
Therrien.
There's got to be something else that's going on. I don't know if he owes him money or what it is, but
hey, maybe. Well, it can't be any more awkward than I think it was the Islanders coach that was living in the GM's basement.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, bud, you're gonna have to move out.
Yeah,
by the way, you're fired.
We're moving on from you, and you can move out. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna need to pull off. You know, maybe the win against the Coyotes is like a confidence booster. I know it's against the second last place team in the league, but a win's a win, right? Doesn't matter how you do it. It's an extra 2 points.
You know, in the standings, a win is a win. Doesn't matter how it happens. But when you need overtime to beat one of the worst teams in the league, that's just not good.
It happens. It's matchups, right? Teams match up differently against every team, but it's they're, you know, if it wasn't for their hot start, they'd be kind of middle of the pack. But
they'd be lucky to be in a playoff spot at this point if it wasn't for their hot start.
I have a feeling that they're going to kind of just ride this out, and then they're going to kind of go on a little bit of a stretch at the end. And then
remember how was it Byron was like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and now I don't think he's scored in it forever. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to him. Don't get me wrong, it kind of pleases me a little bit to see that they're having a hard time, but the hard time that they're having is a product of their own stupidity. Personally,
yeah,
that's just Bergevin making just bad moves.
It's just Therrien juggling the lines, like not letting any consistency, not letting any chemistry develop, because as soon as it doesn't work, he changes the lines up right away.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the coach has got to go, but as we said, you know, Bergevin seems weirdly loyal to him. So, you know what? I hope they pull out of it soon, because they are the most likely Canadian team to make the playoffs. So,
oh yeah,
well, and Edmonton, but you know, it sucks to see Price getting stuck in a bad situation there. So hopefully they can pull it out and go on a bit of a run. But it was on to the Ottawa Senators, who, again, had a bit of an up and down week. St. Louis Blues just destroyed them, 6-0.
I don't know what happened that game. Like, it was just a bad game. Like, St. Louis is kind of a mediocre team. They're not bad.
See, St. Louis isn't really a mediocre team. With the players they've got, they should not be.
They're a mediocre team because they're not getting the goaltending. They have the forwards and the defense to be a contender, but the goaltending.
I think Jake Allen might be starting to figure it out.
I hope so, because I mean,
and the coaching change as well seems to have given him a bit of a boost,
and probably, you know, being told to just sit at home for a few days while they went on a road trip.
Well, I don't know that he was told to, as I think he might have asked to do that. I think he needed some time away, because that's got to be hard.
Oh, I'm sure it's got to be hard, but I mean, you should be with it through the thick and thin, right? Like,
yeah, but at the same time, he was. It's hard emotionally. I think it's very hard to be a goalie, especially when you're supposed to be relied on like that.
And when you get pulled in like 4 straight games.
Well, exactly. So I think that maybe was the right decision, just to have him sit out for a little bit, get his head straight again, and you know, maybe he needs to talk to a sports psychologist, because obviously, you know, we've seen what getting your head right can do for a goalie. Devin Dubnyk is like class A example of that.
That's also getting on a good team.
Well, but he was playing for Montreal.
Yeah.
Montreal had him and didn't stick him into a single game.
Yeah, I think he played like 2 games.
No, he didn't. He played down in Hamilton.
Oh, right. No,
he didn't. He wasn't even with the Canadians. He was down in the minors.
I was thinking of who was it, the Edmonton goalie they had last year.
Oh, I don't know.
It was one of the old Edmonton goalies they had. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what was going on there, but you know, and if Jake Allen can figure it out, St. Louis is a good team. I think they're just trying to retool. Right now, they're at a weird crossroads because they've had some of their guys heading out, and like David Backes, for example, went to Boston, right? So, be interesting to see what happens there. But anyways, they just obliterated Ottawa. I saw the highlight package on that one, and Hammond made some good saves, but just I remember on one vividly. I don't even remember who it was that scored, but Erik Karlsson made the worst giveaway. Like, there is no way he is winning a Norris this year.
No, I don't think so.
Despite the fact that he's been playing better defensively
than he does, but I mean, to be fair, I feel like the only reason why he's a Norris contender every year is because he puts up 70 points, 60 points.
Which I've always thought was, to be honest, that's bullshit. Because if the top defenseman should be getting the award for being able to both score and play defense.
Right. They should just have, a best offensive defenseman category.
They should, but the problem is that they have too many awards as it is. Like, pretty soon they're just going to be getting stickers for everything.
Participation trophies.
Exactly. You didn't win the Stanley Cup, but here, have a sticker. Yeah. Participation. Yeah. Good job. But then they play the Stars. I think that was Thursday night, and they win 3-2. So from one end of the spectrum to slightly in the other end, in that way. But it seemed like a good win against the Stars, and the Stars are I don't know, man, what's going on with them.
The Stars are just kind of falling off this year. Like, looking at the standings,
they lost 2 of their key defensemen though, because they lost Goligoski and then. I don't remember the other dude. He went to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blanking on.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Whatever. Anyways,
but you'd think that with like the forwards that they have and the scoring prowess that they have with Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin and all these guys,
Jason Spezza, and they're not scoring,
not at all.
No, and you look at guys like Patrick Sharp, who's there to be, that's secondary scoring at least.
But doesn't he only have like 4 goals?
Yeah, I think he's only got maybe 6 or 7 goals, if that.
It's almost as bad as Iginla.
Yeah, well, Iginla's got an excuse. He's like 40. Sharp is still, I think, only mid-30s. But anyways, on to another team that's in a downward spiral and still spiraling, and probably will continue to spiral until they fire their coach or get some fucking goaltending. It's Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw an article today on last night on Sportsnet. It was like, are the Winnipeg Jets ready to turn it around the corner and be a contender? And instantly I saw that and I just started shaking my head.
I think that was a Spectre article, if I'm not mistaken.
Sometimes I feel like these articles are just like, they're just there just to riot the fans, just to post hateful comments.
Well, but it's got a point though, because Winnipeg has been in rebuild mode, right? And they're building, but at some point you have to push past that.
Oh, for sure.
And start to win, and they can't seem to do that. It's like they're trying to turn the ignition on a car
that just keeps sputtering.
Yeah, it's going and it's not getting that next kick.
Every once in a while it sounds like it's gonna start, and then it just kind of flutters again.
Yeah, it's just brutal. Like they played the Wild this week, lost 4-2, played the Hawks, then last night lost 5-2. It's just going from bad to worse for them, man.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that Tyler Myers is out again with surgery.
He's probably got to be out for almost the rest of the season.
At this point, I would assume, yeah.
And this is the problem with it, is that Paul Maurice, you just know that Paul Maurice is going to take the heat for Kevin Cheveldayoff not getting him a goalie.
Oh yeah, it's always the coach's fault.
Yeah, because it's the easiest move to make, except for the fact that you have to pay them afterwards, which must piss off the owner so much.
Like Claude Julien, where he doesn't have to work next year and he can still get paid his $3 million.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to get paid.
Oh,
anyways.
yeah.
Wherever he goes, I think he's going to get at least 3. But
I wonder if he's going to go to Vegas. That's another conversation, though.
Personally, I don't think he will.
He's in Vegas this weekend talking to the owners and whatnot.
Well, if they're going to back up a Brinks truck to his house full of just probably $5 or $6 million, then yeah, he'll probably go. But otherwise, if there's another option, he'll probably take that. Because really, who wants to run an expansion team in its first year?
Yeah.
That because it's just not going to go well. It just isn't. It's the way things go. But just Winnipeg just frustrates me. They do, because they just can't figure it out, and you just know that it's going to be the coach that takes the blame for it. And yeah, you know what? Paul Maurice may have to share some of the blame, but it sure ain't his fucking fault that they don't have a damn goalie.
Yeah, and he's never had a goalie.
Oh my god. Poor bastard. But anyways, moving on to another team that also doesn't have a goalie and can't seem to buy a frickin' win lately is the Calgary Flames.
Which is funny because they were the talk before the season was they finally got their goalie ever since what was their goalie that retired? They had forever the Finnish
Kiprusoff.
Guy. Yeah, Mika Kiprusoff.
He was outstanding.
He was fantastic, and ever since he retired, they've been struggling to find a goalie. Every single year, they kind of have issues with we need to have a goalie. This is it, and they thought that they had him at the beginning of this year, and it hasn't really panned out that well.
Oh man, and I know it's kind of hard to find a goalie. It is, but at the same time, all you really need is league average goaltending, unless you're a truly bad team that requires
above average
goaltending. Montreal Canadiens, excuse me. But again, they lost both their games this week. And they didn't lose both their games this week. They beat the Pens. My apologies. And again, just super up and down. If they make the playoffs, they're going to be lucky. But they've got too much money tied up on their back end.
Yeah,
it's just getting ridiculous with them. It's mismanagement. You got to wonder at this point if they're thinking of firing Gulletson and bringing in one of the Hitchcock or
one of the available coaches.
Yeah, because they sure as hell there was no one available in the summer when they fired Bob Hartley.
Yeah, there was the coaching. When everyone was looking for coaches at the beginning of the year, there was nobody available.
Yeah. And now that there's 3 available, you got to wonder if some teams are going, oh, man, I want to fire him. But for someone like Gulletson, he's probably not making that much money because first gig, right?
Yeah, and
first NHL gig, so
a lot of times the owners, too, the owners will blame it on the coaches, but the owners don't want to pay the money, so they'll ride it out a lot too. They'll just blame the coaches, but they'll ride it out.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. Something's got to maybe give there. Maybe if they can pull off a trade with some of their defensemen or something like that, get some money off the books. We'll see what happens. But you know what? I think we'll just skip the Edmonton Oilers for right now because they were off all week. They beat the Canadians. We talked about it.
And other than that,
yeah, they had their bye week, so who cares? Nothing much happening in oil land. And then the Vancouver Canucks, again, they're 500. They're a team that for some reason has to be in the playoffs no matter what, and you just know they're gonna just trade away all their futures. They'll probably even trade Bo Horvat.
Yeah, I can see that for 2 picks.
Yeah, something like that. 2 seconds.
And then an aging player like a Ginla.
Probably. It's funny and sad at the same time.
I could see them saying, I could be like, oh, well, he's perfectly aged to pair with the Sedins.
Oh my god. Can you imagine how slow that line would be?
Be a lot of hockey sense and wisdom, but they'd be so slow.
Yeah, they would be. That'd be sad. That would make me sad to see that. It would. But you know what? We're going to just wrap it up there on the Canadian teams. I just want to talk real quickly about the goaltending equipment changes. Now, that was the talk last summer. That, we're going to make all these big, grandiose changes. And, we want to increase scoring in the league. And I've always said it for the last little while that, maybe players need to just figure it out.
Yeah.
To maybe get a little more creative. Don't just put pucks on net, but try and create a scramble, something that work on your shooting. There are ways to become a better scorer. Just for God's sake, look at Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah.
He's the only guy consistently who has scored 50 goals.
And they're all from the slot one-timer on one knee.
Exactly.
And they somehow always go in.
Exactly. So there's stuff that the players can be doing. But no, not the players' fault. No, goalies. Gotta screw the goalies.
Might as well just make the nets bigger at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Make them like an inch bigger on each side and see what happens. But what they've done is this, and this was something that they were supposed to implement last summer, was that they've created new goalie pants, because there used to only be a couple of sizes. Now there's like 5 or 6 different sizes. But they've trimmed them down a little bit so that they're not as bulky. Yeah, they're not as bulky, right? So apparently what used to happen is that if a puck went in there and you kind of caught it with the pant a bit, it would stop. Now it spins off. So Freddie had one against him. Freddie Anderson had one against him the other night that normally he probably would have stopped, but with the new pants, it happened to go in. So my question here, though, is why the hell are you doing this in the middle of the season?
Yeah, it should be something that you talk about, maybe, implement it, but implement it at the beginning or the end of a season, not in the middle when you're used to...
Well, and apparently it was supposed to be implemented at the beginning of the season, and then there were safety concerns and blah, 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 blah.
But at that point, you should just wait until next
year.
Push
it till next year, exactly. Why the hell are you doing this in the middle of the season?
Right in like the thick of a playoff push towards the end of a season.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember hearing, I think it was on Saturday, Kelly Rudy saying that a goalie said to him, Kelly, the only guys that are going to complain about this are the ones that are going to be screwed by it. But at the same time, it's like, come on, it's middle of the season. Just have everyone be on a level playing field.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's not like they implemented it. Like, at least it was league-wide, so it's the same for everyone. But at the same time, they've been playing like 50, 60 games with the old pants. Let them play the last 20, 30 games with the old pants, and then implement it after the playoffs.
Exactly. Exactly. Utter ridiculousness. And you know what? If I did see an article this morning that was saying that that scoring is up like 0.2 or something per game, but the fact is that we can't make a determination yet whether or not it's actually going to make a difference until we see what happens over the rest of the season. Scoring is up this season anyways.
And that's just because a lot of the times you see like one team scoring 7 goals. It's not really across the board. It's mostly 1 or 2 teams that keep consistent. Like Washington, I think, has scored 5 goals a game at least at home for like 10 straight games or something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. They are a super offensive team. They have got some serious firepower. But I think part of it as well is that you've got a lot of younger players.
A lot of faster players.
A lot of faster players, but a lot of really highly skilled players that have been playing in the way that hockey is for as long as they've been growing up, right? And I think they might have figured some things out that the older players haven't.
I think it's that, and looking at the league as a whole this year, it could be because the players figured it out, but the goaltending isn't as good this year as it has been across the board most other years. So I don't know if the league scoring is better because the players are better, or if it's because the players are better, but a lot of these goalies are sucking more than they usually do.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
It's probably a combination of both.
Yeah,
but
perfect storm sort of thing. And you know what? I hope we do see consistent scoring. Going forward. I don't mind the odd 2-1 game if it's been really
playoffs.
Good,
I enjoy the 2-1 games, but there's nothing better than watching. Like some people hate it, but if I'm watching like Colorado and it's like 7-0, like I love just watching them continuously pour on goals. Like it gets to a point where it's like enough's enough, but at the same time, like it's just fun to watch.
Too bad that Colorado's been on the receiving end of that this season. But you know what? I do enjoy watching the Leafs on Saturday win 6-5.
Even though they were winning 4-1 and still almost lost it.
I know. Believe me, it almost gave me a heart attack. But it's entertaining, right? And that's something that, as we've said, the NHL needs to work on and to bring in new fans. So if they can kind of keep it up, maybe not all the time, because I would legit have a heart attack.
Just remove the offsides. There you go.
Oh my god. Oh
Scoring
god.
will go up all
exactly. Just cherry pick.
Yeah.
Just leave one guy down, like
there,
right in front of the goalie.
Dump it.
Yeah.
And they were even talking, like, some guys were saying, too, if you want to increase the scoring, remove the goalie's restricted zone, because, you know, causes a lot of bad turnovers.
You get Marty Brodeur or Patrick Waugh.
Brodeur would probably come out of retirement if they removed the trapezoid just so he could play the puck.
You know what? Goalies still play the puck more these days than I think they used to in previous years.
But they don't have the free reign to move as much. But that's why you see them sprint full speed and get it before it goes to the corners.
Exactly, which is, I think that's a little more entertaining.
When you watch guys like Tuukka Rask or even Price, where he like runs and then dives and puts his paddle down and stops it before it goes behind the net.
Oh man, good times. But you know what? As it's been a quiet week, I think we might just wrap it up there for this week. So you know that's our show, and you know follow us on Twitter as we've been saying at Talking Puck P. And subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, all that fun stuff. And thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. See you next week. Goodbye.
See you later.